Join me and my son William as we head across the Northumberland Strait to Nova Scotia, where Highland adventure awaits. We travel from our home in PEI to the Cape Breton Highlands, where we camped 3 glorious nights in spectacular Meat Cove campground, drove the world-famous Cabot Trail. We hiked a bunch of trails and ate some great meals. Meat Cove Campground is truly a remarkable place. When I got up Sunday morning and made my way to the washrooms, I noticed that campsite 11, the site on a high finger-like cliff that juts out into the water, was vacant. Every other time I've been to Meat Cove, there's always a tent set up there. So I took the opportunity to limp down over the bank to the isolated site and was rewarded with some amazing early morning views, as you can see from the video, and the sun was just rising over the water. I was limping. Saturday had been a big day. Too big for my right knee, it seems. As soon as I turned to come down Wilkie Sugarloaf Mountain, my right knee began to ping. But what can you do at the top of a mountain but continue on? So I pounded it down the mountain back to my car, but the damage was done. Now, Sunday morning, every step was painful. Normally I'd be prepared for such injuries on a backpacking trip, but this trip I was too rushed to get ready and I had nothing with me, not even a Tylenol. Oh my. With an unexpected injury, a knee on a hiking trip of all things, William and I made some decisions in regards to the rest of the trip. I determined that as long as I avoided steep elevations, that I could limp my way along at a modified pace. So we had another look at the map and the trails and changed up the plans for the day. Sunday was the day that we were going to explore the southern side of the Cape Breton Highlands National Park. I desperately wanted to do the Franny Trail again, but unfortunately that wasn't going to be in the cards this trip. We settled on some easier things to do for the day and we headed out on the road. The first spot we came to that we had decided to check out was White Point. This is a spot I'd been to twice before and thoroughly enjoyed it both times. I wasn't planning on stopping this time at White Point, but with my limited abilities, it seemed like a good spot to stop at. On the way, William and I stopped at any place that showed signs of life, trying to find some painkillers and an elastic bandage for my knee. But on Sunday morning and in tiny communities, the best we could do was eventually find some Tylenol at an open grocery store. So with Tylenol coursing through my veins, we made our way out onto the White Point Trail. This trail is an amazing coastline hike in an old French fishing village. The trail climbs and falls fully exposed on the rocky coastline out to a series of small islands off the point of land. If you choose to continue on farther than we did, the trail carries on along the coast for more and more ocean and ragged coastal views. An old graveyard is along the first part of the trail with a grave to an unnamed soldier. If you can walk and climb, like I couldn't but William could, there are various cliffs and small rocky beaches that can be explored along the rugged ocean coast. William was pretty impressed with this Plan B spot, which I was glad for. I enjoyed my stroll out and back as well, but by the time we got back to the car, my knee was hurting pretty bad. We soaked up the sounds of the ocean washing against the rocky coast and the wind blowing over the hill crests. It was a pretty unique spot and a memorable time. We got back on the road and re-entered the park again to try and tackle a few easier trails that sounded pretty interesting to fill out our day.
An area of moose and coyotes. Maybe there's a bear riding a coyote eating a moose. On the Jack Pine and Coastal Trail.
One of the trails that I wanted to do was the Jack Pine Trail. I love trees, pine trees in particular, and the trail description sounded really interesting to me. A 2.3 kilometer loop trail with coastline and a Jack Pine forest unique to the area. Sounds good to me. Let's check it out.
Some interesting Jack pine trees. I've seen lots of pine trees, but these are definitely different. Little small needles, spindly trunks. According to the self-guided tour and signage, the spruce trees are taken over because it's better suited habitat for them. This is one of the only Jack pine forests known around. Anyway, very interesting. Interesting looking trees.
The trail began with a long boardwalk and climbed gradually to a more open but rocky trail. Up and over the rocks, the trail went with informative plaques along the way, describing the recent history of the forest and how fragile it was. There were a lot of jokes to come throughout the day about staying on the trail and protecting the fragile vegetation beside it.
Are we on the trail? Or are we on sensitive vegetation? But there could be a tiny lichen on that rock. I don't think we're on a trail, but it's still neat. There's no footprints. No footprints tell me no trail. Oh, I see a trail. Could be animals though. What happens? What do they do if the animals destroy the vegetation? Good question. Wonder if it'd be frowned upon if we had a fire here. Oh, she's a warm day. Baking in the sun, you're under a tree.
We concluded the Jack Pine Trail by merging with the coastal trail to circle back to the car. There were some pretty neat coastal views, including this small cove where we found a couple snorkeling off the rocks. We carried on our way to the southern exit of the national park. We stopped at a spot called Green Cove to eat our lunch. While we were there, we noticed a couple of seals playing in the water off the point we were sitting on. We watched them for a little bit before moving on to our next stop. Freshwater Lake Lookoff was our next planned stop. This is a short 1.7 kilometer loop trail. The trail climbs steeply using steps to the lookoff to panoramic views of Freshwater Lake. The view at the top was pretty awesome, and there were a couple of benches for us to sit on at the top. This one really worked my hurting knee over pretty good. There was a lot of heavy limping and teeth gritting before we got back to the car. And this was the last spot within the park, and from this point on we were going to turn around and head back to our campsite at Meat Cove.
Alright. Little Grassy. Meat Cove. Think we'll see any seals up on this trail? Maybe.
There's some streams.
Huh?
There's some streams.
I hear the streams too. You are like Gandalf. Actually, exactly like Gandalf. You even have the beard for it. Huh? The Gandalf beard. You got 3 hairs you haven't shaved for at least a month.
Yeah, well,
That's the that's the Gandalf touch. Oh, that's nice.
Back at the campsite, I was determined to hike the Little Grassy Trail. Little Grassy is a high point of land that juts out into the ocean with dramatic coastal cliffs. I can't stress enough what a fantastic place Meat Cove is. If you're in Cape Breton on the Cabot Trail, it's a must-see detour from your trip. So my knee was hurting a lot. You can kind of tell from the video as I'm limping up the side of the mountain, limping up the trail. Little Grassy is a shorter trail, but it still has steep sections, and it's rooty and rough. At the top, you're rewarded with a breathtaking ocean view. In the morning before we left for the day, William and I watched a pod of whales diving over and over again for about an hour. It was spectacular to see whales, and so many of them right from our spot. We were hoping they would make a return appearance when we were on the top of Little Grassy, but unfortunately they did not show. The Little Grassy Trail puts you out on a barren knob on top of the mountain. From there, the trail steeply descends down, down, down to the top of a cliff face. When you're all the way down, it's like you're sitting on a platform high above the ocean. I had done the trail before on at least one other occasion, and William was excited to discover this new gem of a trail. Off he went ahead of me. I knew that I shouldn't descend the steep trail and follow him, but I did. Down I went, painful step after painful step to the bottom of the trail, only to have to turn around and hobble back up to the top before descending the trail back to our campsite. You can see William as he descends the trail to the bottom, the little red dot moving seemingly to the edge of the earth. It had been a hot August day. We were sore and tired. I decided to do something that I never do. Go for a swim in the ocean. William and I got changed for a swim and we went down to the Meat Cove beach beside the campground. The salt water was cool and refreshing. The bottom of the beach was very weird and unique though. The beach was covered with small stones and they shifted constantly under your feet once you're in the water. It gave you the impression of constantly sinking or losing your balance. The shifting footing combined with the gentle waves made it difficult to keep your balance in the water. Shifting under your feet.
Yeah, I know.
Was it ever weird? Is it ever weird? Once we got in, a school of curious fish decided to hang out. Actually, the fish wouldn't leave us, hovering just about a foot away from our legs and feet, and it was a bit unnerving. William decided to make it his mission to catch one of them with his bare hands. You can probably guess how successful that was. Someone had taken the time to build several large inukshuks on the beach. Meat Cove offers a couple of drive-in RV spots on this beach as well for its customers. Alright, as William walks away from me, we're supposed to be doing our video log intro here. It is Monday morning. Oh, he's wandering back. There he is. Thank you, William, for joining us. Has the trip been good for you? No. It is Monday morning. We're on our way back, heading to the boat, the ferry boat eventually. We got a 6:30 boat. So we're going to do some short trails. I messed up my knee. Nice legs. There you go. See? Nice. I messed up my knee overdoing it on Saturday. So we're going to do some shorter trails. We did a couple yesterday and they're pretty awesome. So we're going to do that today as well. Right now we just drove in a super rough dirt road, and you know how much I love dirt roads, into, what's it called? Bulac Falls.
Something like that.
So we're going to go see it. We can hear it. We can actually see it through the trees. There's a little short jaunt up, and we're going to do some little stuff today. So here we go to the falls. There goes William to the falls, ahead of me. That's high. Oh, it's summer. End of summer. Here's what I really came for. They call this one Slimy Falls. Slimy Falls. Oh. Neat. Of these gnarly, twisted old trees. It said on the sign this is the largest old-growth hardwood in the Maritimes. Some of the trees here are 450 years old, or 350 years old, so they say. I'm not sure if they knocked on them and asked them, how old are you? I'm not sure how they figured that out, but we'll have to trust them on that. Super cool. Just look at them, even the dead trees. Lone Shieling was a trail that William wanted to do on our way out of the Cape Breton Highlands National Park on our way home. This trail is a 0.6 kilometer loop that features a replica of a Scottish crofter's hut. The trail wound its way through ancient hardwood trees and took us down by a bend in the river. Our next stop was Benji's Lake Trail. This trail boasts moose, birds, and other wildlife, although the only wildlife we saw were other people. This easy, flat 3-kilometer hike is on top of a mountain. You travel from the parking area along the long, flat summit to an alpine lake just waiting for a visit. It was a good choice for my limited abilities, but as you can see, William was far ahead of me for most of the trail, as I couldn't keep up with my hobbling gait. After visiting Benji's Lake, we stopped for a quick trip around the bog trail. This easy half-a-kilometer trail takes you around a level boardwalk on the summit of the mountain. Interpretive signs explain the insect-eating plants, the bog, and present vegetation. As we continued on our way towards exiting the national park, we stopped at a couple more look-off points, this one being the Skyline Trail again. Even after being through once, it was still mesmerizing to see it again on the way out.
You're in all the shots because you're in front of me. You'd stay behind me in your rightful place and you wouldn't be in all the videos. Get behind me!
The Corny Brook Trail was the last hike that we had time for. Even as it was, we were pushing it close to get to the ferry boat on time for our 6:30 departure back to PEI.
This trail's been pretty awesome. It's mostly just a gentle uphill, and it's been following the brook. It's been awesome listening to it gurgle and whatever. It's just a nice treed canopy. A muggy day in late August with William, who keeps walking in front of me, not in his rightful place. Get to the back! Get to the back!
The Corny Brook Trail was one of our favorites of the weekend for sure. The trail creeping beside the brook was really a nice ending to our wonderful adventure weekend away in the Cape Breton Highlands. We were rewarded at the halfway mark of the 6.5-kilometer loop trail with a spectacular waterfall. With our destination completed, we made our way back to the car, me hobbling, to continue on our journey to the PEI ferry and to resume our goal of listening to the entire Korn discography. That is a goal that we did complete about an hour away from home. It was a great trip, lots of fun and laughs, and we got to experience some amazing sights in the Cape Breton Highlands.
Pretty nice.